Oh, excuse me. Good evening, and welcome to the Planning Board meeting. This is January 22nd, 2026. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded by Foxboro Cable Access. We may have some people either participating via Zoom or watching at home. That being said, review of old and new business.
Thank you very much. I will keep it brief tonight because I know we have a very full agenda. Our new intern has started, and his first project is going to be process mapping. So we will have a written record of what each one of us does in the office, which will be very helpful in the case of prolonged absences, which do happen from time to time. Second item, I am planning some community engagement sessions in February and March. The first one, I'm hoping to present ideas for Neponset Avenue to the greater community. I'm hoping for February the 10th, which would be a Tuesday evening, potentially the Thursday of the same week during the daytime. I just need to make sure that I can find conference room space, but I'll be pushing out information on that within the next week. Later on, I'm trying to find the things that I really want to touch on. The World Cup items are still underway. We've sent preliminary comments from departments to the craft group who's pursuing the permits on behalf of FIFA, and we will be inviting them to speak directly with departments in mid-February regarding the site plan during the World Cup. And we're hoping for a presentation to the planning board and an executive session due to the sensitive security nature surrounding the World Cup sometime in February, hopefully February 12th, if that meshes with folks' schedules, but I'll send something out shortly on that. And those are the really big items that I have to touch on, but again, I want to respect people's time.
Do we have anything on active subdivisions tonight?
No, not to report. We do have an item in the action items.
Okay. Has anybody reviewed the minutes from
I have.
January 8th?
Have we reviewed them?
Yes.
Any issues with them? No? Then I'd make a motion, we accept the minutes of January 8th meeting 2026 as submitted.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Action items, Historical Commission, R15 discussion.
Sure. The Historic Commission has asked to speak to the Planning Board regarding the R15 zoning district, which is our denser, more historic residential district, which is mostly clustered near the center of town. So I believe they have some representatives here tonight who are welcome to come up and discuss if you'd like.
Okay. We just ask when you come up to speak, please give your name and address. We ask that you give your name and address, please. Thank you.
I'm Bill Sides. I'm on the Historic Commission, 37 Union Street. And our concern is over the last couple of years, first of all, our
Go to the table.
Sit at the table.
The microphones are at the table.
Oh,
No.
no.
Just
We
go
gotta
sit at
move
the
you over
table.
here now,
Just sit
sir.
at
I'm
the table.
sorry.
Oh, so, okay.
I didn't realize they did that to us.
It's a plot. Okay, look, it's on. Okay. First of all, we understand that the R15 zoning laws are fairly old, and I've heard several members say at some point, we need to look at this. And anyways, the Historic Commission over the last couple of years has been alarmed at what we're seeing is the R15 people by right can put up a two-family as long as they meet zoning, no questions asked. Which I suppose at some point that seemed like a good idea. What we're seeing is, though, the R15 tends to be smaller lots with smaller houses, which in a lot of cases is the first home market for people to want to live in Foxborough. What's happening is developers are coming in, overpaying for the property, and then putting up larger two families that, quite frankly, overpower the neighborhood. And so we're just kind of expressing our concern that in 15 or 20 years, all these quaint little neighborhoods that everybody speaks so fondly of, these historic neighborhoods, are not going to be there. And it's something that in talking to Bill Buckley when he was looking at 30 Granite Street, he said some towns have a restriction on the amount of square footage they can put on per lot. And the example he gave me was a 15,000 square foot lot might have a 20% restriction, which would mean approximately a 3,000 square foot building. And I guess he said Foxborough does not have anything like that right now. And so, for example, at 4 Fales Place, which they took down a house that was 1,400 square feet, and they've put up a 2-family, and that's approximately 2,400 square feet. So it's significantly larger, and to do that, they basically, the builder, because he's overpaid, he figures I have to maximize my square footage. So he says, how much can I squeeze into the lot and still be compliant with zoning? So they all go up to like 35 feet is the highest it can go. So they're all like at 34 feet 9 inches. They're all, you know, they gotta be so many feet away from the sides. They're all within an inch or two of that. And then at Fourth Fields Place, it's either building or septic. There's nothing else. There's really, you know. And at 31 Granite Street, which I'm somewhat aware of, they took down a cape and they put up about almost a 5,000 square foot duplex. And I think part of that is also because when these regulations were promulgated, a duplex was probably 2,000 square feet total. For example, on Market Street, right across from the exit from Bank of America, is a duplex. It's 2,000 square feet. Those ubiquitous duplexes that are all over town, I guess they call them Jerry Rodman houses or something, they're approximately 1,600 square feet, which means about 800 feet on a side. And so now you're seeing duplexes because the builders are overpaying. They are just putting up the maximum amount. At West Leonard Street, there's all these little kind of bungalow houses, but there was a second lot. They put up a 3,800 square foot duplex next to a 1,600 square foot house. And what that does is, besides just the size of the building, it changes the person next to them's yard. For example, now they have shade where they never had shade before. They might not be able to see the sun because the house is blocking it. And at 30 Granite Street, which again I'm intimately aware of because I live next to it, one of the questions was, which way do we want the house located? And the house is 34 feet some odd inches, but they raised the land, they're gonna raise the land about 5 or 6 feet for drainage. So now we're up to almost 40 feet, even though he makes the, you know, he can raise it only 35 feet, but he's putting 5 feet of dirt. So actually what I'm having in, 25 feet from my property line is essentially the Green Monster. And right now, I can see the center of town, I can see the Bethany steeple, I can see the flagpole, and that's all gonna be gone. So these larger oversized buildings for the lots are impacting the quality of the abutters, life. And I think it's time that something has to be done to make it, because right now it seems like everything is in the builder's hands. He can buy them for a little bit more, then he can put up these huge, out-of-scale buildings, and and they're not owner-occupied, which is, the golden thing is if owners occupied them, they take better care of them, which I'm not saying that all landlords don't take care of them, but I think, there's certain things that can be said that, so that's our concern, is that, in 20 years, you're gonna look out and say, that nice little group of houses over in Fales and Gilmore, which, that's where all the workers lived that enabled the people on Baker Street to build those fancy houses, is gonna be gone. It's gonna be basically looking like a suburb of Boston, with 2 families lining the streets and, And so that's what our concern is, that the Historic Commission, we're in charge of making sure Foxborough thinks of its history when they do things. And it seems like right now, we're slowly losing it. And not to call any names, but there's one developer from Walpole that's bought 4 or 5 lots lately and done exactly, puts these big 2-family units on these smaller lots because that's how he maximizes his return on investment. And I also can anecdotally can tell you, there was a friend of mine that was trying to downsize in Foxborough, and for 3 years, he bid on several properties, but each time he bid on them, he was outbid by developers. And this is a person that's lived in Foxborough 45 years, he's served on committees, he's been active with scouts, he's still active in the town. So I think in some ways, this R15 zoning thing is pricing out the people that you want in town. And I think we just need to be a little bit, somehow we need to fix it before we end up and say, what did we do, or what didn't we do? So that's our major concern.
Catherine, do you have some input?
I'm just wondering if anybody else is here to speak on this issue as well. You're welcome to come up.
My name's Mark Forensic, I live in Union, and I'm the chair of Historical, and I don't really have much to add what Bill said, but we do have the ability to put in a demolition delay law for historically significant property. I mean, a lot of the houses we're talking about, they're not historically significant, but they're nice little houses, they fit in the neighborhood. Now, I'll go back and talk about the Fales Place. Now there's two huge duplexes that tower over the neighborhood, which is pretty close to a dead-end street. You go down, it's got the left on the end, but as far as parking, fire access, and that alone is a problem there. But it just takes a lot from the neighborhoods. So.
Yeah, we had some of the abutters on Fales Place in recently talking about parking issues.
Yeah.
And access, so it is a concern that we're aware of.
I mean, there was an existing duplex there that I don't think had adequate parking based on what the neighbors told me, and now a next one goes in with, potentially doubling the problem. But anyway.
Hi, I'm Maureen Kraus, 9 Baker Street, and I'm also on the Historic Commission and the Design Review Board. And the Design Review Board has struggled with this, particularly with the example of 4 Fales Place. The Design Review Board gets involved when there's a site plan review, a special permit, or when the building commissioner determines that the proposed exterior activities are sufficiently extensive to materially affect the character of the surrounding area. And that's where I felt like in that example, like to have one duplex and then another right next to it on a street of smaller residential homes, it really starts to change the character of the town. And I don't know the exact, like how the Design Review Board got passed at town meeting, but it would have required a 2/3 vote. And at a certain point in time, the people of Foxborough felt like it was important enough in that overlay district, which is the center of town and some surrounding streets, to have a second set of eyes, like besides zoning and planning, like does it fit? Does it match the character? And we would really love to have the opportunity to get in earlier, to work with developers, to say, could that be set back a little? Could it be a 1-car garage and not 2 2-car garages? So we'd really like to be a resource to work with the developers, just to see that things are compatible. Thank you.
Hi, I'm Linda Shea. I'm also on Design Review. And as Maureen said, we have struggled. In fact, we've met with Catherine a few times to see about looking at the the part of the zoning bylaw that covers our board, because we've been at odds with interpretation, I guess. We feel that when the word shall is in what you have to do, you shall do, it means you must. And that isn't how others interpret that. So we have struggled. It's only the center of town that we cover, and we feel like that's where most of the historical houses are. My house was built in 1856. My husband just found a picture of my house from 1860 in the We Are Foxborough. And it shows one house on South Street. I live across from the giant apartment building over there on Market Street. And in the background, there are no houses on Union Street, or you can't see them in the picture. So to think that a lot of houses were built in the 1800s, my house was 1856. that's where they all are, Gilmore, Granite, Market, South. And so our regulations only apply to that little area. And we feel that since there is a zoning bylaw, that we really should be enforcing it better. And what's happening is we don't always see the project until it's had some approvals. And so we are trying to streamline that so that we can get input in the beginning. Like, it's really hard to tell someone, well, you can't do that after they just spent, a lot of money on a design because they didn't know about it or they weren't told about it. So, we've been mindful of that as well. But Fails is one, but there are several that we've struggled with because we're not seeing it soon enough. And we just feel like there's only so many houses, and if they're all torn down because they're going to be replaced with something else, then we won't have any historical area.
True.
I can speak to the design review board piece. As mentioned, there are like two problems with that. One of those was the process internally. As you mentioned, the projects were just getting to you too late in the process. The second piece is the bylaw language itself, the interpretation from our council and from our building commissioner. A lot of it was left to the discretion of the building commissioner. He didn't like that. The design review board didn't like that. Council didn't like that. So that's one of the items that I have on my list for town meeting this warrant cycle is, number one, to adjust the language to make sure that it's explicit that everything but single-family homes would be required to go through this process. And secondly, that it would come to you all as a matter of course. Right now, it just says that it comes to planning board if it already meets the site plan review type requirements. This would say that if the property is deemed to merit this type of extended review, it would automatically come to the planning board. Then there would be a signed decision from you all, and the building commissioner would have enforcement capabilities. So we're trying to tighten the language piece. We're trying to tighten the process piece. But as they mentioned, this has been an outstanding issue that has unfortunately led to several, I'd say, missed opportunities.
Okay. How do we get it in the hands of design review earlier?
So internally, we discuss processes of when the applications are filed, what types of applications they are, and flagging the district itself. So we ought to be able to get applications to them fairly shortly, within about a week or two of when they come before us, and we understand where they are. And that was a big piece that wasn't really being looked at until further along in the process, when people are getting signatures and things like that and checking the boxes. But it really does make sense to get it before the design review board when it's still in the project concept stage, when the project's more malleable and can be amended far more easily.
Makes a lot of sense to me as well. And that way the developer doesn't have to be hung up with a large piece of, large expense for a piece of property he may not be able to build what he wants on. So I think it makes a lot of sense to get it to you first. And
Right.
Jeff?
Well, I would say that's fine and something that should be looked at and addressed in the spring, as soon as we can. But that's only kind of a little sliver of the issue here.
Right, exactly.
Of the R15 zone. I mean, a very small sliver. And, we have talked here before, in the past couple of years, about addressing or perhaps reviewing the R15 zoning in general, in a broader sense. And we have a very capable professional staff here, and there's been a lot of other work that's come up that has taken priority over that. But I would put in a renewed request. I still think that the R15 zoning, it is, when you go through cycles, economic cycles like we're going through now, those are the areas that tend to bear the brunt of building activity, especially in the residential sector, I think. And it's not like that's never happened before. I mean, if you backtrack like 30 years, those big duplexes right across the street from Attorney Splain's office on Mechanic Street were tear-downs that were basically replaced with two houses connected. And that's not what duplexes used to be in this community, but that's a relationship to land costs, and it's just the way it is. It's worse now than it was then, because land costs are higher. That's not going to go away. That doesn't mean that we couldn't have a more comprehensive review of our boundaries for the R-15 district, about, what specifically is and is not allowed in terms of density within that district, the setbacks and other types of dimensional restrictions or regulations within that district. I think any of those things, and I'm not suggesting that, we need to crack down on economic or building activity here, or, change our design review things, any of those things. I just think it's time for, some eyeballs to take a look at it. And, some of the things you were talking about, Bill, I don't want to get into those types of specifics now, way too early, more preliminary for what I envision could be done here in terms of review. But, I would certainly like to get that on the docket, in the next year or so.
There are several other housing items that I'm hoping to get before town meeting, next annual meeting. Those include senior housing. Age-restricted housing right now is kind of a placeholder in our bylaws and hasn't been fleshed out. Another part of the bylaw that we just had a consultant look at is our special residential districts, which include everything from residential compounds to, what are some of the other ones? I'm blanking on them. But there are 4 or 5 different elements under that special residential district. So as another residential item, it might make sense to put it alongside those items for next annual town meeting. That would give us a little time over the summer to discuss this issue and talk to residents and whatnot.
Well, I think it's time to get it on the dance card.
Mm-hmm.
So
Agreed.
One other thing, with 30 Granite Street, and you guys were all amazed at the geographical gymnastics that the builder used to expand the size of the lot. He bought that 6-foot strip of 100 feet long or something to increase it, so when he was bidding on the property, he knew ahead of time he was going to be able to do that. So when everybody else was bidding, they were thinking they could only put a 3-unit on there. But he knew if he could purchase that land, which he had pretty much already figured out, he could put 4. But the issue with that was that piece of land he bought has nothing to do with it doesn't help with setback, it doesn't help with drainage, it doesn't help with anything. So essentially, he got approval of a 4-unit building on a lot that normally could only support 3. Because he has this little sliver of land that is essentially an appendix. It has no use.
We were all kind of amused by that when we saw it, but it was very creative.
Well, it was
and as you know, the amount of building you can put on a piece of property is driven by the square footage of the.
Well, I understand that, but I think maybe, what would happen if somebody, he had like a 1-foot strip and then, 4 houses down, you got a big lollipop thing? I mean, can't there be something done to, it just seems like that's because if one person sees it, somebody else is going to say, well, gee, if he did it, then I can do it.
Well, they can only do it if someone's going to sell them the land.
Well, I understand that, but, the price of land, if somebody comes up and says, I'll give
Oh,
you.
that's what I said.
I just think that, because essentially we have a 4-unit house going on a lot that should only have 3 units on it.
Right. Well, we have 2 subdivisions that are currently underway in town that were done because of creative land purchase. And they were able to tie together and get, how many houses total?
I'm sorry, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Up off of East Street? We have one that comes in, and then the other one comes in from the end of the cul-de-sac.
Yeah, 12 lots
12 houses,
in
yeah.
one and 6 lots in the other.
Right. And that was creative land.
Those are 2 separate subdivisions. They're not combined.
No, but because of one being able to go in, it gave the other one the ability to.
So I think what we're talking about here is to take a look at our R-15 zone. Does it make sense, continue to make sense, in under current circumstances and going forward? It is, I don't even honestly know when the current R-15 zoning was adopted. So it's been a while.
Time for a look.
Yeah, it's time for a look.
But, for example, why can they do an R-15 by right, but in an R-40, they need to get permission before they add
When
it.
it's a larger lot, that's what I
I mean,
always
they
thought.
have a larger lot, they have
Yeah.
better septic, they have more land, they have better setbacks. It almost seems like,
And I would add, in addition to that, is currently we're in an environment here in Massachusetts where political leadership is pushing just the type of conversions that you're upset about. So that's part of this as well.
At the ADUs for a prime example.
Right. Right. We haven't even got into that, but superseding.
Fight for another day.
But you're right, there's, we can move this forward.
thank you. That's all we can ask.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Okay.
I think we need Mr. Buckley. Okay, next on the agenda on action items, we have a bond reduction request, Lawson Farms.
We have received a request. We discussed a request at the last meeting, and there was a discussion about price increase for the town portion of what we would have to spend if we had to finish a subdivision. Those prices have been accounted for. There was also discussion about improvements to the subdivision, doing cleanup, patching some of the catch basins. There were street signs that had been knocked down. Those have been installed, and the patching has taken place. I don't know if you've driven past it, through it. I did on Friday before we got some snow on the ground, so I did see that. And I also need to point out that there's cones on the catch basins, and they're not because they're danger to people. It is to let the plows know
Right.
that the catch basins are there, so they don't snag when they're plowing the road. So the request is to reduce the bond amount by $196,966, bringing the new bond amount to $537,431.
Okay, and this number was vetted by the town engineer.
Yes, do you have a memo attached to my
Yeah.
memo
We do.
from DPW stating that they agree with the prices. They also have a caveat at the end saying, please note that any assessment may change as weathering and construction activity continue on site and may further degrade existing site infrastructure. So we would have to review the pavement conditions, prior to them considering top coating, to make sure that the roads are going to be whole when we accept them.
I would make that in the form of a motion that we accept the request for a reduction in the performance guarantee for the Lawson Farms subdivision in the amount of $196,966, bringing the new bond amount total to $537,431.
Second that.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
Okay, that was quick. Next, we have Form A, Normandy Farms.
You have a plan in your packet.
Yeah, you can look at this one.
Good evening. My name is Jim Neva from Dun & McKenzie, representing Normandy Farms. This plan is to take their 9 parcels and combine them into one for the assessors. They would ask, the assessors asked us to do a Form A plan to assign it into one parcel.
And what precipitated that request from the assessors?
The assessors, because they were being taxed at different rates, and if they put it all together, it would be taxed. It would be taxed as one whole instead of in 9 different parcels, and that's what Mr. Daniels has asked me to do.
So they're not creating any new lots, they're
No.
combining
Right.
all of the lots that they have.
And just so I understand, this request came from the town, or did it come
I
from?
think it was a discussion between the landowner and
And the
the
assessor.
assessors.
Okay. Is there anything we need to know about this? It seems fairly straightforward, but it's got a lot of pieces.
Yeah, Jim and I went through it a couple of weeks ago, and I had a lot of questions, but it's pretty straightforward. You know, the lots have frontage and have access on a public way.
Right.
So, you know, they meet these standards for Form
Okay.
A application.
Like I said, it's pretty straightforward. I don't see any issues.
Well, the one question I have is, what would happen down the road if somebody wants to subdivide and sell? They have to come back in front of us?
They would have to Form A it again.
Yeah.
Yes. It's,
Yeah, that's the only
Yep.
restriction I really see
yeah,
here.
it's happened before.
Okay. Gary? Anything?
No.
John?
No.
Do we have a motion to accept the Form A as presented?
I would make that in the form of a motion that we approve Form A submitted for Normandy Farm campground for a total of 110.23 acres.
Do we have a second?
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, I have a form for Tom to sign. We can do that after the meeting. And I have the plan for everybody to sign.
Okay. Got it.
We'll do it at the end of the meeting, so I can get you the plan tomorrow.
Okay, all right, thank you.
Okay, to sound like Mr. Weinfeld, it's sometime after 7:05 PM, public hearing, special permit, 100 Central Street. Mr. Spillane?
Good evening, Attorney Frank Spillane here for the applicant, J&E Auto Inc. With me this evening is Elias and James Israel. The brothers own both the J&E Auto Inc., which is the motor vehicle repair shop that's located at 100 Central Street, as well as the owners of Cosiba, is that how you say it?
Cuspa, yeah.
Cuspa LLC, which is the owner of the property. Again, the property that we're discussing here is at 100 Central Street, which is located on the northeasterly side of Central Street across from Bassett Street. It contains a total of 44,850 square feet of area and is located partially in the R15 residential district, which is the front lot, as I call it. And I sent Gabby a 1984 plan. Did everyone get a copy of that? Which kind of shows the front and the back. Oh, here, I'll leave this out. This is a 1984 plan. And the back lot was obtained by the owner of the front lot.
Thank you, Frank.
So the front lot, which is this lot right here, which you'll see on that plan, shows that it's 15,461 square feet. Until 1984, that was the whole lot for that parcel, which contained, again, a motor vehicle repair shop. I consider that the front lot. And the parcel is partially in the limited industrial area, which is the rear lot, which is parcel A on the plan I just gave you, which contains 29,389 square feet. So the parcels in both R15 and the limited industrial. Again, the property currently has an existing motor vehicle repair shop, Foxfield Auto, which is, again, located on the front parcel within the two existing buildings. We're here asking for a special permit under section 3.1, table 3-1, use group 17C, to allow the sale of 3 used previously owned vehicles as an accessory use to the primary use, which again, a motor vehicle repair shop. So under that use, it has to be an accessory use to the main use. So that's what we're requesting here. The current entity purchased the property and the auto dealer, the car repair shop, back in June 2004, and has continued to operate the repair shop on the property. A motor vehicle shop has been there since at least the 30s. The description of that front lot goes back to 1938 deed, which was a deed between the McKenzie family. The McKenzie family had a motor vehicle repair shop there. I think they sold cars back at that time too. As I stated earlier, that back parcel, parcel A, was purchased in 1984 by DK Realty Trust, which owned the front lot, again in 1984. Once they purchased that parcel A, the two merged together because the front lot didn't have enough area. So automatically by law, the two merged together into one lot. And it's been owned by the same entity, even though different entities since then. Again, the use of the motor vehicle repair shop in the front, even though it's in the R15 district, which is not an allowed use in the R15, is an allowed pre-existing non-conforming use, goes in there way before zoning even came into use within the R15. So it is an allowed use in there. Additionally, both the lot and the buildings are also pre-existing non-conforming. For lack of frontage, they have 93 feet, where 125 feet is required. Front yard setback, they have 35 feet where 50 is, and side yard setbacks, which is like 2 feet, 0 feet on one of the buildings, 43 and 17, and 50 feet is required. And there are other, pre-existing nonconformities, including parking, landscaping, and others. So the lot and the buildings are pre-existing nonconforming. as is the use. Again, what we're proposing is for J&E Auto Inc. For a special permit from this board to allow the sale of 3 used or previously owned vehicles as an accessory use to the existing motor vehicle repair shop. No additions or changes to the existing buildings, nor alteration to the land will be occurred on the property. They're not changing anything, keeping it as is. So we don't need any site plan or anything like that. We just need your approval for the special permit as well as the license from the Board of Selectmen. They've determined that the 3 used vehicles for the sale will be located in the 3 parking spots in the front of the building to the left. I'll show you right here. These 3, they're 3 used cars for sale. You're going to put them right there. We decided to put it there because all of their customers come in right in here. So we're going to maintain all of this area for all their customers to use. So that's where they'd like to put it.
Okay. You're only looking for 3 cars?
3 cars, yeah.
Okay.
Yep. You know,
The permit would be conditional upon that, 3 cars, or is it just open-ended, the permit itself?
you can limit the special permit to the requested 3 cars, and they would be limited to that. If they wanted to do more cars, they'd have to come back to you.
Okay.
So you can limit it, and that's why we told you 3. You know, I'm sure if we came in asking for 20, you'd say no. You can't put 20 cars on there, because it wouldn't be an accessory use anymore. So that's the location that they'd like to be able to park those cars. Again, under section 10.4, special permits, this board considers certain criteria when reviewing for special permits. Criteria include community needs serviced by the proposal. In my cover letter, I went through all this, but I'll do it again. It'll provide the community with another option with regard to purchasing used cars from a local vendor. Traffic flow and safety, including parking and loading. The amount of increased traffic generated by this requested accessory use will be very, very de minimis, you know, especially when compared to the total volume on that roadway. Traffic flow on the site will not change. The traffic moves very safely on the property. People are very cautious in there and know it's important too. And parking is sufficient for the existing use and requested. They feel very comfortable that they have enough parking on site. Additionally, the adequacy of utilities and other public services. The site is serviced by town water and sewer, public gas, public electricity, and private waste hauler. These services are available and will not require any upgrade or expansion for this accessory use. And the site is on, again, Central Street, which is the main thoroughfare, which is a highly developed area of town, and will not require any additional police or fire. You know, it's pretty much the same. With regard to the neighborhood character and social structures, Central Street, I'm sure you're all aware, is a mixed commercial residential. It's both single-family duplexes and multifamilies on that area, as well as the limited industrials right behind it. So there's, you know, some commercial in that area as well as commercial in some of the residential zone as this business is. So will not be affecting the character of the neighborhood at all. This use will also, you know, encourage the walkability of the downtown, hopefully, so people can walk right down there from downtown to look at used cars. And again, there's commercial use behind the property, to the left of property, as well as a church to the right, and there's residential across the street, is along this side of Central Street. There are no wetlands or other sensitive areas on the property. Again, it's currently developed, especially the front lot. It contains 2 buildings, so there's really no impact on the natural environment and potential economic and fiscal impact to the town, including impact on town services, tax base and employment. I don't think there's going to be any impact at all. No increase on tax town services, excuse me. The tax base will be benefit, because the town will probably get additional revenue. Both the company and the land will be more valuable, and the annual fees that they'll have to pay for a license. And again, there'll be no impact on town services above what's required for the existing facility. We feel that, we've met all the requirements and the criteria for the board, and request the board, approve the special permit for, again, 3, the ability to sell 3 used or previously owned automobiles.
Tom, you had something you want to say?
No, I was just mainly concerned about the additional parking, but if you have enough parking, because you are busy.
Yeah, they're very busy, which is a good thing.
Frank, you had said that an acquisition of parcel A, what was parcel A, was to satisfy square footage requirements?
No, I don't know the reason for buying it.
Oh, okay.
I'm sure it was landlocked.
Because it was pre-existing anyway and at
Yes,
that time.
And again, they really don't use that back there. There's a storage container from the church, they have one back there too. But they really don't use it that much. They park cars sometimes on the grassy area, but that's rare. So my gut is, back then, it was a landlocked parcel. We're trying to sell it. The only people that would have any interest are the property owners around it. And at the time, Pete Daly, I believe, owned it under that realty trust,
Right.
and they just bought it. But before that, their lot didn't have enough area. Once they bought it under the same name, it automatically merges to bring it up, to either more conforming, or in this case, it now has enough area requirement for those 2 industrial zones. So you'll see on the zoning chart that the required area in the R15 for non-residential use is 32,250 square feet, and now they have 44,850 square feet. So now they have enough area, whereas before it was only a little over 15,000.
And is it correct that that back building actually encroaches over onto the adjacent property?
I believe so, yes.
Looks that way.
Yeah, it's been there since probably the 30s.
That's where Gene's Tire Service was.
Well, I certainly don't see how this application would in any way significantly worsen or exacerbate business conditions at the site.
I think it's a natural fit. You guys work on cars all day, you have the availability of buying a vehicle from somebody that wants to dispose of it, you fix it up, you sell it. It's a win-win.
All right.
We have people in the audience that would like to speak.
Do we have anyone in the audience who would like to come forward and speak?
Make a motion to close
No,
the public hearing.
No.
We have somebody want?
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yep.
Hey, Bob Walter, 1 Brandon Lane, and here on behalf of Church of Emmanuel. Our only concern with the church is just the use of our parking lot for their stuff, and so I understand, just making sure we understand it's 3 cars, there is no, like, church's parking lot is a church's parking lot, and, so there's no like quid pro quo written, there's no written agreement between the 2 for sharing parking and things like that. So, our concern was understanding the size, the number of cars, and that sort of thing, because, if it was a larger thing, we're trying to understand how they would make this all work.
Right.
So.
Yep. I think that's why Mr. Spillane came forward with 3. We were going to request a specific number anyways. I think 3 is, a very fair number. If they become more successful, maybe they have conversation about leasing some of your parking lot.
Sure, yeah, absolutely, yeah. The only other question I had was hours. What's the hours of this, like, is it extending hours now for sales? It's just the same? Monday through Saturday?
Monday through
Yeah,
Saturday.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Whitehouse, you were going to make a motion.
I make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All those in favor?
Aye. And I would make a motion to approve the request for a special permit, 100 Central Street, to allow the sale of no more than 3 previously owned vehicles as an accessory use to the primary use at that site. And I would further condition that those 3 vehicles would be displayed or parked in 3 spaces
Front left.
to the front left of the existing auto repair shop.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
You're late.
Thank you.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you, guys.
I had a question about the plan. Those, to sell the automobiles, the parking spots, to get to those spots, you have to go through my property.
No, no, these are gonna be in front of the 3 spots in the front left of the building.
Yeah, but you have to go in my driveway. You see the lot line?
You can take a look right there.
That's right there.
This is my property.
Yes.
How do you get into those spots?
From the other access.
Oh, from Green Lane?
Yeah.
Okay, I just wanted to address that. That was,
Yeah, no, they can't use your land without your permission, Jim, you know that.
huh?
They can't use your land without your permission.
No, I know, just
Yeah, no,
the way it's drawn, that, because they park cars here.
right,
Come in this
right.
way. You know?
Okay.
Yeah. But I'm negotiating with them to do something, if they wanted to, enter into my driveway. Because when I bought this, the guy that owned this had a lease here, so they could go in this way,
Okay.
you know? And it was hardly any money, it was like, it was dollars, you know? What was that? We just watching TV. Sorry, wait.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, guys.
I would bring to your attention.
That's a long time ago.
You think?
Yes. Should you recuse yourself?
Honestly,
You want to save that for your signature?
I do.
Okay.
I certainly don't recall that.
Him, I'm surprised he's put a total booth there.
May 24th. Wow.
Signature.
Did you see that?
Geez, I'm the only one left.
Ron,
Ask for a 5-minute recess?
okay.
Okay, thank you. Being a little after 7:10 PM, public hearing, site plan review, 10 East Belcher Road and 4 Springbrook Road. Mr. Buckley?
No.
No,
No.
no.
The applicant representative is not here tonight.
Oh, I'm sorry, I went right up to the corner.
Yes, 10 East Belcher Road in Springbrook. So I would request that the board continue the hearing to,
February 12th,
Okay.
7:10?
sure.
February 12th at 7:10?
Do we have a motion?
Yeah, I'd make that in the form of a motion that we continue the public hearing on site plan review application for a solar carport installation at 10 East Belcher Road and at 4 Springbrook Road until February 12th at 7:10 PM.
Second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay, maybe now I'll read the right one.
Not yet. We have a request to continue the public hearing for 138 Washington Street, also to the February 4th meeting, 12th.
Okay,
What is that?
Sorry.
The 130?
right, for the 32 units.
138 Washington.
Right.
Okay, please
Come on,
no,
Gary,
I
you do
will
that one.
not be here, I'm not available.
Okay.
You won't be here on the 12th? But Kevin will be back.
Yeah. Bless you.
Bless you.
What time's it?
To make a motion to
Do we, yeah, do we
continue.
need a motion? Do we have a motion?
Oh, yeah, they have to open it.
No,
No,
138
just
Washington is
continue it.
already a continued public hearing.
Do we have a motion to continue the public hearing special permit?
Yes.
138 Washington Street.
Yes, we do. I'd make that in the form of a motion, continuing this special permit application for a 32-unit industrial condo facility at 138 Washington Street, and you would continue that to February 12th at 7:15 PM.
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Now,
Okay. Now, being a little after 7:20 PM, continued public hearing, site plan review, special permit, 0 East Belcher Road. Thank you. Mr. Buckley?
Mr. Chairman, good evening. For the record, my name is Bill Buckley from Bay Colony Group, and I represent J. Cook Realty LLC, and we're here back before the board to present the modified site plan for the land located at the, well, kind of the intersection of East Belcher Road where it goes off from Interstate 95. So after we left our last meeting, I mean, there was a lot of questions which we couldn't answer, specifically concerning things like what's going to be parked there, where are they going to be parked, how many things will be parked, that type of issue. And what we said is, you know, that stuff's being discussed with the Zoning Board of Appeals as a result of the lawsuit. And so subsequent to that, the ZBA and the town and the applicant came to an agreement about 2 weeks ago on that. And what I'm showing you now, and what I've showed to the ZBA a couple of months ago anyways, was this is how Mr. Cook would like to park things on his property. And as we discussed previously, this doesn't involve any additional clearing on the land. And although I'm showing you both parcels, parcels 1, which is on the left, that's the parcel we filed a permit for. Parcel 2 is on the right, and that's the existing building. And I'm just showing you this because if I just showed you parcel 1 and you were looking at the agreement, you would, you know, it doesn't make any sense. So that's why we're showing both these things. Plus, we've added a few more details and made some modifications to it based on discussions with the board, with the town's professional staff. And I prepared a cover letter to the modifications, which I'm sure you've all had. And so the first thing was that Lot 2 has been added, so Lot 2, or Parcel 2 is on the right. So parking and storage stalls have been added to the plan so that you can see where, in the future, trailers and vehicles would be parked. So we're showing parking in the front, which is required under zoning for people who are going to, employees and visitors to it. And then based on the size of the facility, it requires 6, and we're showing 11, of which one of them is a handicap accessible. And then the rest of them are a combination of, they're 53 foot by 10 feet, which is a large trailer, or they're a combination of also 48 feet by 10 foot, which is a smaller trailer. And it's not necessarily to show just trailers. Vehicles could park there. You could put equipment, for example, if you had a backhoe or something like that. But we showed it there so that it would give some order to the facility, where right now there's not really any order to how things are parked. We've added no parking signs on East Belcher Road, and that's just, if you can look at you have the drawing, but you can look at me. Along here, this is all within the layout. You can see the layout's the heavy black line. But out here is dirt, where trailers and stuff are parked now, which is not on the property. So those have to be removed. And then we've added no parking signs along that area there, which will allow the police to enforce it if it ever becomes an issue. We've added a stone trench inside here, and that is in the blue on your drawings. And that is because of the DPW Assistant Director, Town Engineer, has said he'd like something in there. We've created a bowl, it really is a bowl now, but we've even made it more of a bowl. And that will allow infiltration, better infiltration. He was also worried to make sure that any contaminations, if there was any, would not leave the site. So we said, okay, we added that. He asked us to add a silt sock along the northeast and north side of the area to make sure that nothing is going down that slope when the grading is done. So we've added a silt sock along there. We've added a stockade fence down here. If the board recalls, this area had a stockade fence, but we've added one down here because as part of the condition with the town, with the zoning board, stuff is supposed to be screened from the roadway. Down there is no screening, so we've added a fence along there, similar to the other ones. It's a 6-foot wood stockade fence. And then I think I told you about the handicap parking, which is right here in front of the building. And just a little bit more background. I know we didn't talk about the building too much. It's a 5-bay building. I think we were talking about, I thought it was 3, but it's 5. I talked to the owner today. It's a 5-bay building that's currently there. He's taking up 4 of the bays. One of the bays is run by an auto repair facility. His plan in the future is to rent out some of the bays and take less of the space for himself. So, is there any questions on that?
Where are the bays?
In the existing building,
Which is right here.
How do you get in?
from the front.
Oh, there's the parking lots.
Yeah, there's open overhead doors.
So, any more?
What does a stabilized construction entrance consist of?
It's a stone, it's crushed stone. So what we do, it's aggregate, we put it wherever, you'll see it on almost all construction
Yeah.
sites.
Yeah.
We open it up, it's a crushed stone pad, typically 25 feet, maybe 25. And what it is, so when trucks go in and out, the idea is to knock the mud off before it gets into the street.
So is that a permanent feature?
No. So that's there during construction, and then once the construction is done, that will also be a compacted gravel area in there.
And this whole area in parcel 1, the activity area, the active area, not paved, correct?
No, not paved, just
Then-
compacted gravel.
Just curious, so why do we need a stone trench?
I didn't show it originally, but Kevin thought it was important, so we said fine.
Okay.
And just so you know, Jeff, when we do runoff calculations, I'm going to simplify it, but we use a runoff curve number of 98 for pavement. For compacted gravel, it's like 92 or 94. So it's almost the same
Not that different.
runoff as that. What I'd like to go to next is to talk about the discussion is, I know Barney's going to discuss it as well, is the work that needs to be done out here and the timing for it. So the requirement that was done is that Mr. Cook's company is allowed to have 26 vehicles that he uses for his facility, for his business. And it's vehicles and trailers. I think it says both those things in there, because a lot of his work involves moving things. It also allows him to have 14 vehicles on site / trailers that he can be working on, that can stay on the site for a limited amount of time. And then the rest of the site is approximately 55 spaces, what I just showed you, where I was talking about the stalls. So those are for tenants, future tenants. It's not that he can fill up all 55 with his business. So we were talking about this earlier. Right now he's using, 40 out of 55, so he's probably using 80% of the parking for himself. But in the future, and he's using about 80% of the building, because he's got 4 out of the 5 bays. So it's not an unreasonable ratio of the number of parking spaces, because there's been some discussion on, hey, look at the number of parking is too many. Well, it's really not. Based on that, he's got 40 out of the 55, but he's also got 4 out of the 5 bays. So, if he starts giving other businesses bays, that's going to factor into who does it. Because if I have a business that I need 10 bays or 10 outside storage spaces, they have to come from somewhere. So, but we're just showing this for that. But his number is 40, 26 and 14. And there's a mechanism for enforcement in there within the agreement. Now, they're not listed on here. We're not listing who goes where to what, because it's just going to depend on tenants. It's going to depend on the type of vehicles, type of trailers. A big tandem trailer with a tractor attached to it will take up 2 of those spaces. If it's just a trailer, it's just going to take up 1 of the spaces. So something like that. So that's why we didn't show, and we really can't show, who's going to use what. And you never see that on any of the site plans, I think, that we show. We just put a limit on, what can go where. Another issue that had to do with, and I want to put up another screen, had to do with timing. So there was some question on, when is this work going to be done? And so I talked to Mr. Cook today, if you can look on here, and I should have brought hard copies, but I didn't. So I talked to Mr. Cook today about it, and this is the schedule that he would like the board to consider on the work being done. So if I could just talk through it fairly quickly, starting pretty much now. And as you're looking at that plan, north is to the left. So as you're looking at the drawing, north is to the left. So we're talking about removing half the equipment on that north half of parcel 1, which is the parcel we're talking about, getting that out of there, and either moving it to parcel 2 or eliminating it if it has to be the equipment that has to leave the site, because he's limited to 40. And then in the spring, once the weather breaks, which we're guessing is April and May, but who knows, but we're saying April and May, that's when he'll go in there and start filling and grading that side of the parcel. Then he would go in and remove any equipment on the south side of that. So as you're looking at it, on the right side of it would be removed. Again, either removed from the site completely because it's eliminated from his inventory, or put on parcel 2. And then he would fill and grade that south side of parcel, so he's doing half at a time. So in the summer months, in July and August, he would do that, and then in September, he's saying September to November, finish the fencing. He has pallet racking that he wants to install, which is shown on here and is discussed in the agreement, and then basically get the place cleaned up. So this was a timeline he put together. I recognize that the board wasn't going to just say, have it done by, November 1st, July 1st, whenever. We're giving you milestones so that you can monitor the progress of it. So that, let's just say, we said October 1st. September 1st, you go down there's nothing being done. You can't get the excuse, oh, I have another month. This is a phase which is logical in my mind, to do the work on that area while he continues to run his business.
Will we get updates by phase?
If you wanted to.
Okay, well, I think we need to hear from Barney before we really go into any discussion.
Right. And I'll answer questions, but we can go whatever you want to do, Mr. Chairman.
Okay, for the record, and if Diana has forgotten who I am, Barnett Over, Chairman of the Zoning Board of Appeals. First, going back to Mr. Buckley's overall presentation relative to the site plan. I had a conversation earlier this week with Ron and Bill, and I'm fine with that. The zoning board would be fine with that. Initial reaction there were too many spaces and a concern about that, but in discussing it and understanding what Mr. Buckley was doing on behalf of Mr. Cook, I'm fine. The zoning board would be fine. What I would like to see, what the zoning board would like to see as far as conditions that you would impose, number one is that the property be used in compliance with the two agreements that we have reached with Mr. Cook. Number two is to, as Mr. Buckley indicated, establish milestones and timelines, but I just feel that these timelines are too long. This matter, or at least this version of the matter with Mr. Cook, began almost 3 years ago. Mr. Shippey, the building commissioner, issued an initial enforcement decision on February 22nd of 2023, so almost 3 years ago. And the zoning board commenced its hearings on the matter in April of 2023. We tried to work with Mr. Cook to reach a resolution that would be satisfactory to him and to the board. Unfortunately, matter was taking too long, and we weren't achieving what we were looking for, and we finally upheld Mr. Shippey's determination in March of 2024. There was a subsequent appeal of the matter. Various reasons it has been extended. We reached an agreement for judgment a year ago, January 1, 2025. Modification of that agreement just a couple weeks ago. The purpose of the modification was to get some clarification as to what vehicles and what equipment Mr. Cook needed on that property in connection with his business. We agreed to 26 vehicles and trailers as part of what he is actively using in the business, and 14 as far as his customers on site in December. My concern is that the longer we extend the period out, the longer it's going to take, and there's going to be delays, and it's going to extend and extend and extend. So from my perspective, and from the zoning board's perspective, we would like to shorten the timeframes. As of now, Mr. Cook is technically in violation of the agreement for judgment and the modification. As of now, as of January 5th, he was only permitted to have 26 vehicles actively being used in his business and 14 customer vehicles on that property. I suspect there are more. I don't know the exact number, but I suspect there are more. We could go in next week and inspect the property, and we have a list of the vehicles that he says are being used in the business, and determine how many vehicles there are And if there is an excess number, a number over that 40 number, he's technically in violation of the 2 agreements we've reached with him. Now, I will publicly say that, in fairness to him, we will not inspect the property. When I say we, meaning the Zoning Board of Appeals, and I'll not ask Mr. Shippey to inspect the property over a reasonable period of time. But to my mind, the reasonable period of time has to be less than what Mr. Buckley is saying.
Can I just interrupt one for clarification? Because you had said it's too long. And I just want you to be more specific about what is too long. I assume what you're speaking of is to remove anything not authorized under the agreement. You're not caring about site preparation for the future. You could care less, right?
Well, I don't want to say I could care less, because I certainly don't want to see that, extend
But am I correct?
to
in
infinity. But
the
that's
gist
something
of
I have
what
no.
you're getting at?
I have no control over that. That's obviously your determination.
Okay.
The initial agreement said only as far as site plan when he had to apply. It didn't say when the site plan had to be completed. It didn't say when you had to reach a determination. But right now, he is in violation of the agreement. He's actually been in violation of the agreement since August 31st of last year. But we have not done anything to require compliance because of the determination that we would try to modify the agreement, try to reach an agreement as far as modification. But he's technically in violation, and we could enforce it if we felt that that was appropriate. So certainly, I would like to see a shorter period as to when he must comply with the requirement that only 40 vehicles be on that property than is being proposed.
Okay, and for clarification, the 40 vehicles must be registered and insured if I read the agreement properly.
Well, certainly the vehicles that are part of his business, the 26 that are part of his business, have to be registered and insured.
Right.
I don't know what the situation would be on something that he's bringing on, but we would have,
Okay.
but anything that he's actively using in his business must be
The
registered.
26 that are on the list
Correct,
need to be registered and insured.
correct. And inspected if so required by applicable law.
Can we go back to Bill for a minute? So what is the necessity or the advantages of phasing that parcel one half and one half? It's not that big.
It's not, but he uses the whole site, and he still needs to run his business. Right now, he went out and counted them today. Right now, he has, there's 14 vehicles out there. I'm talking about parcel one now.
Yes.
There's 14 vehicles on parcel one that are customer that he expects to leave like in the next week or two. He's working on them, expects them to be finished, they'll be gone. He has 6 of his trucks and 1 trailer that part of his business that are on there now. And then there's some other, not vehicular stuff on there, but there's other stuff.
Equipment.
So, right now there's,
That's 20.
that's 20 plus the other things that are not, yeah, and roughly, 21, and roughly 14 of them are gonna be going soon, but he's gonna be moving stuff in and out. He's still gonna run his business. So you think about, just think about running your business. If you had to shut down a quarter of your site and then was moving things around so things could get built. So that's what he wants to do. In a perfect world, he would hire a contractor, he would move everything off at once, he would send a contractor in, knock it out, and then be done. Not a perfect world. So he'll be doing it in phases.
And so none of that could be temporarily moved? Any residual vehicles or equipment that would be left after the 14 customer vehicles are gone and then he's got a limited number himself. None of that could be moved over just to, because what I'm thinking here, you can probably see, I'm thinking that that could satisfy concerns from the zoning board, while at the same time probably saving him money by doing the whole thing at once.
As soon as the 14 vehicles are gone.
Right, but he's going to be doing a lot of the work himself. So it's not a question of that. So a lot of the work is going to be done by him. It's not going to be done by a contractor. So I don't know. I don't have an answer. We talked about this in ad nauseum. It just needs the ability to move equipment in and out. Sometimes it's bigger stuff. He doesn't have the room on the other side. He'll be moving things. So that's where he's going to start immediately removing that equipment and then getting going as soon as it's physically possible to start working on that grading. And then he can start moving stuff back if that's possible. And we have 2 access points there. So they'll be able to access the north and south sides of that piece. But
Bill, on your plan itself, the red spaces, do those represent actual spaces or just a visual to show us that those vehicles will fit where in the general vicinity?
yeah. So we were asked, I don't remember when, a while ago, to produce, I think it was for the ZBA question, what can you fit on that lot? Okay, so we asked Mr. Cook, how would you park stuff in there? Show us how you would park it and give us, these sizes so we can put those boxes on there. So the intent is that is the way the parking will go. So, we're showing trailers and stuff, but it might not be trailers. It might be a backhoe. It might be an excavator. It might be a pile of material from a contractor who's leasing one of the bays, but the idea is to have some order to it and neatness, an area that we can, so that it's properly screened with the fencing up against the road. So is it going to be exactly like that? No. Is it awkward in some places? Absolutely. You look at it, it's double parking, but if you went up to an RV park or a car dealership or, thing like that, they double park too. It's just aggravation. That's part of his business operation. So he has to move things in order to move things, if that's the way he wants to.
Is that to be part of any final plan that may be approved, those red lines on that, or is that not part of it? Is that just a visual for our edification?
I think you could certainly approve that, those locations, because that's the intent, is so that, it's not, in the middle of the driveway that you're looking at stuff there, so.
Would that be helpful?
Yeah, one of our concerns is obviously some orderliness, to the
Right,
property,
right.
and I think this does it.
But I understand perfectly the sense or the concern that, this is what can be done, but probably it might be close to that or maybe not.
Yeah, well, we've had some, he and I have had some discussions about it, and I just, have been clear that you're the landowner, you're the tenant, and then you just need to be hard with your tenants. These are the areas you can put your stuff, and this is the way it is. This is my permit, and we have to live by it. Okay. So yes, I think that it would be appropriate if you put that on here as a condition.
Bonnie, what would you like to see as a deadline for removing the excess equipment?
My ideal would be March 31st to be down to his 40 vehicles. That's my ideal.
What was that again, March 31st?
March 31.
So now let's go back just to revisit, because it's been a while, right? So any decision by this board is limited to parcel A.
Correct.
Right. So
whatever is going on next door in terms of cleanup or removal of other equipment. You know, we're not going to be conditioning anything on that, right?
Correct.
Just wanted to make sure.
But again, what I'm asking is that one of your conditions be that that parcel be used in compliance with the agreements that we've reached with them.
Parcel
Two.
Parcel one is the one on the left.
Yeah, the parcel that's subject to your
Yes.
your site plan review and special permit.
Be used according to the
Yeah,
agreement.
in compliance with the agreements, yes.
And you keep using plural there, so that leads me to believe this one dated January is not superseding. They're both in effect?
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. The modification just modifies that original agreement as far as the specific terms in the modification. Otherwise,
And is that basically the list of equipment?
it's the numbers, the list,
Yeah.
and then we've added some provisions relative to the tenants and what they can have.
Yeah, great. Right. Okay.
We do have one other observation. In a prior iteration of the plan and the April meeting when it came before this body, the existing entranceway, the existing gravel drive, was removed with the fencing put up to restrict access there just due to visibility around that curve for safety purposes.
Right. So, two reasons we continue to show that, because that's what's there now, as Catherine just pointed out. The first is, when we're doing the phasing of the work, we need to be able to get in that particular area. The second is, Mr. Cook convinced me by showing me, when his trucks come out of that area, you know, it's not a car. It's not at 4 feet, it's not 4.5 feet above the ground. It's like 8 feet above the ground. He said he has perfect sight distance looking down, because he's looking over everything once he gets out into the roadway. And you're out into the, you know, when you get past his, I should put that back up. When you get past the property line, you probably have a good 30 feet.
Bill, are you talking about the new entrance or the
old one?
Corner.
The old one there that's there now.
Yeah, on the north side.
Right.
So, let me zoom in.
There was one right here. This is the one that they're blocking. This one is treacherous.
Okay, right here. I know it's hard to see, I apologize.
Yes. Yep.
So this is the existing access, and it's actually access over here too. If you look at the original site plan, which I can put up, I think there was 2 driveways on that one too.
Right.
We were originally saying, well, we'll close this one off, we'll just leave this big one open. But Mr. Cook said, look, I need this, for 2 reasons. The first is when I'm doing this work here, but also, when I'm moving stuff around in there, I just need the room to be able to do that. So when he pulls out here, when you and I are sitting in our car, you have forever sight distance this way, you don't have forever sight distance that way. Get yourself up 8 feet or so, like you are in a tractor trailer, and now your sight distance does improve significantly down the street because you're looking above everything. So, I said...
The car that's coming around the corner there,
I'm sorry?
the car that's coming around the corner only has the limited sight distance because of their elevation. So it's great for the guy in the truck, but it's not always that good for the person driving the car.
Right, but he's on the other side of the road, so that's the positive. The truck is pulling out and taking a right or taking a left.
Yeah, but with a vehicle that long, you've got to encroach the entire road to make your swing. So I'd rather not go down the road with this argument because I don't find any validity in it.
Well, it's there already. It was previously approved by the selectmen. I could put it up for you. I'm pretty sure it's in the correct location, and the other one was down there. So we would like to have that there. It's important to the operation of his facility.
Okay.
And it's on me, you
Yeah.
know, it's on me and it's on him. So,
And if I may interrupt, I like having that opening only because it does give the truck driver a bigger turn. You know, he wouldn't have to encroach the entire road as he would on the southern driveway, I believe.
No, I'm not opposed to having that there for access. I just don't want to hear the line of sight is much better for the truck driver because that doesn't carry any weight.
yeah, you're right, I guess, when you're talking about a car coming
Yeah.
around there.
Bill, you know, are you speaking about that as a provisional feature or a permanent feature? Because I'm just not sure why you would need two entrances there after the work is completed.
It's the way he runs his operation. He just needs the room in there to be jockeying these trailers and stuff around. That's what he...
Sure, but I could see making that the sole entrance is what I'm getting at. After the work is done.
Yeah, I'm just, you know, I'm just telling you what he's telling me, is that he would like to have the two entrances because to move stuff around in there.
All right.
That's I guess not a great answer. I'm just telling you, just an operational issue as far as he's concerned.
Okay, going back to removal of equipment on site.
Yes.
I don't think there's anybody here on this board that wants to impede this gentleman's ability to perform work and earn a living. But anything that is not on the list, I want to see it gone. And I'd like to see it gone in a very timely manner. Because if it's not on the list, it doesn't affect his business.
Right. Absolutely, but he still has to get rid of it. So it's a question of, and I totally understand what Mr. Over's saying. My point is that, yes, it's been going on forever, but it was only finally agreed to like a month ago. The 26 and 14 was only finally agreed to like the end of November, beginning of December, and signed last week or 2 weeks ago. So that number wasn't hard until that point. So yes, in a perfect world, he would have been getting rid of all this stuff, but up until not that long ago, we didn't know what the stuff was, it wasn't agreed upon what the stuff was. So I understand that what we're requesting is that if you look at this timeline again, by the end of June, everything will have been moved off that site. And ideally, as the stuff is moved off, it's sold off. If it's not part of the agreement, or it is moved over to parcel 2 for the moment until things are done, and then so that's the request. Is the end of June. I understand. I totally understand what the board is saying. I understand the motivation. I'm just telling you what his position is on this and would like that additional time to do that. And so, I mean, maybe we can have something that's relatively flexible that we can work on, you know, hey, look, well, April 31st is, you said April 31st, right?
March 31st.
March 31st is our, you know, goal, but, you know, we need some flexibility on it because of, you know, he's got to get rid of it somehow. It's got to be sold. It's not like you can just move it somewhere, because I said to him, can you just move it down to Frank Mahoney's yard? He's like, no, I can't, because, you know, Frank's yard is already full of his own stuff. So it's got to be disposed of, and I'm not sure, but I can't imagine the stuff that's there is easily disposed of. So we just need some time to dispose of it.
You're asking for flexibility. You know how many years has been flexibility given by this town?
I totally understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing with you. I'm just saying that here we are today, the agreement was done. not that long ago. He needs that additional time. In his opinion, he needs that time to get rid of it. It's still moving forward. That's why I was saying, when I talk about flexibility, maybe there's another timeline in there of by March 31st. By March 31st, we're going to go in there and, check it out again. And then, I don't know.
Now you want to stretch it to April 31st.
I don't know,
Why don't we say April 31st is the...
There is no April 31st.
That's right.
April
30 days.
Right. So,
The first, you got February to April 1st, remove equipment on the northwest side. What if you remove all the junk that's not on the list in that time frame, and then when you come down to May, June, remove equipment from south side, you're only moving stuff that's allowed on the site, and you just move it to the part of the site that's done.
Yeah, well, that's what I've been trying to get at, is get rid of the stuff that's not,
Yeah.
that's not needed.
and
Then you're just moving stuff that is
Right.
allowed to the other side.
so that, I agree, it's a good point. The question is, what does get rid of mean? How do you get rid of it?
That's up to him.
1-800-GOT-JUNK.
The point is you're right, it is up to him.
It's an arduous task to get rid
And
of
it's
it,
his, and
yes.
it's his issue and
Yeah.
his problem, but, if you, I don't know, if you
I know
said
we
something
don't-
if you said something that's unrealistic, whether you agree or not, and maybe it's not unrealistic and maybe this will motivate, but if it is unrealistic, so now there you are at the end of March, and, okay, you're in violation. Now what? So now you're gonna, okay, we're gonna go to the building inspector, we're gonna go to the ZBA, we're gonna go back to court. And then, in the meanwhile, hopefully things are moving forward. It's gonna take X number of weeks or months to get back before a judge. The judge is gonna probably say, well, what's the problem? I haven't got it done yet. He looks at the board, looks at town and says, okay, it hasn't been done yet. How much time did you give him? Well, we gave him 2 months or 4 months from the time of the decision. Okay. How much time do you normally give people to do site plans? Years,
This isn't, we're not talking site plan, we're talking removal of,
It's gonna be part of the decision. So it is part of the special permit site plan, because you're gonna make the decision. The ZBA can walk in there tomorrow and say you're in violation. And I said, there's nothing more I can
All right,
say.
you might have some
Yeah,
insights.
the only thing I want to say is, we started talking with him about modification in August. And early on in the process, the list that's part of the agreement, there are 14 vehicles and trailers that are crossed out. So he's known exactly what he wanted to keep on there and what he was willing to release for a period of time, and he certainly could have done it already. I don't think we're being unreasonable. I realize that he has a business to run. The whole objective of reaching an agreement with him, both the original agreement and the modification agreement, was to achieve a situation where he was able to run his business as he deemed fit, but still do it in compliance with the zoning bylaw. And I think that we, meaning the zoning board, has been fair and reasonable. I would like to see a strict timeline in which he has to comply.
How about this? I'm not even sure it's helpful, but let the planning board decide on a timeline. I'm sorry, I always shut my phone off. Let the planning board decide on the issues that concern the planning board, which is, building the site. And then let the zoning board deal with, really what we're talking about is zoning board issues right now. I mean, like I said, like Barney said, he can walk in tomorrow and say you're in violation and deal with it. So it's up to them. It would be just a single board now making those decisions on that particular issue. And then you can just tell us, March 5th, March 30th, or whatever, and we would just be working with you, your board, on that. I don't see how it makes it easier.
It's a special permit, isn't it, as well as site plan?
It's both, special permit and site plan. But that really has nothing to do with, the number of vehicles in his business. I mean, I've never heard that. It's where you park them, where's the fence, where's the driveway, what are the hours of operation, what's the material. That's what the planning board deals with, not how many vehicles do you have in your business. I could certainly make an argument that you have no jurisdiction over that.
Well, it's one thing to talk about a timeline, but, specifically, the intent from the very beginning was to somehow link or condition a planning approval so that it reflected the agreements. The second one just happened, but, that was always the case. We always said we were going to do that.
It was.
The only thing, and I hear what you're saying, and you're doing a great job for your client. It's just too much. But, in terms of, you just present a scenario, well, what happens, when we get to the certain timeline and it's not met, and then this and that. Honestly, I don't have a lot of confidence that we're not going to be in that scenario anyway.
That's what Bonnie just said. No, I understand it. No, I do.
And one item that no one's really touched on, we're only acting on parcel 1.
Right.
What's to prevent him from moving all this stuff onto parcel 2 and going, nah.
Well,
But he's still limited to the number of, he's still limited to those 40,
on parcel 1,
no.
on both, total.
His land.
Okay. So that
Right?
does give us a
Right?
little bit of,
It's to his business.
okay,
Yes,
okay.
yes. But we're only talking about planning board stuff. It's a modification of a previously approved site plan and a special permit for parcel 1.
Bonnie, other than the timeline there, do you have any other issues with this agreement?
No, again, I rather see an earlier resolution of the site plan work, but I have no control over that, so.
Why does your client need 3 months to install fencing and put the pallet racking? I think that we can, that's one thing that we can tighten.
I think that
So
part of
we
it's
can
the
talk
legal
about the
that's
stuff
what
up top, the removing the cars, but I think that, we're allowing way too much time for that final thing too.
October 1st,
Yes, that sounds better.
Why can't we have everything, all the junk removed by April 30th? And have everything else done on that site by the end of August? Forget September and November. There's no reason that can't be moved up.
well, if that were the case, Gary, you wouldn't need all that. If your deadline for removing any non-compliant equipment or vehicles from the parcel 1 site, if you were saying that would be April 30th, is that what you said? It certainly would not take, I don't think, until the end of August to do the actual work on a site that would have been cleared in its totality at that point anyway. I think that the key part of this is the first part. That's my sense.
Yeah, the removal of them.
right? It is. So, like what you just said, Jeff, and what Gary just said too, is in a perfect world, you'd move everything off that parcel 1.
Right.
In a perfect world. But there's not enough room on parcel 2 for everything. And that's what it is. You walked the site. We've all walked it, I think.
Right.
So you just can't get everything. You wouldn't own parcel 1 if you didn't need that space. So to get everything off, it's just not physically possible.
No.
And then to get rid of it, which is what I was saying to Tom earlier, is I understand, but how do you get rid of it? It's not like, yeah, it'd be great if you called hunks for junks, whatever it is. But it's, it's big, heavy equipment, and
Well, I assume that the time incurred in getting rid of, if you want to use that, I mean, I would think that he would be trying to sell it for use and not
Yes.
scrap,
Yes.
right? So you could generate some revenue by the latter, but that, he probably would like to avoid as much of that as possible.
well, that's what he does for a living. Those 14 or the nine vehicles that are on parcel 1 right now as we speak, he's fixing those. So and he's got to get those out to clients. So, yeah, if we moved all the non-compliant stuff off, he still needs room to operate his business. So he can't take up every bit of space over there on the other.
No, I don't think anybody's asking for that. I think we're asking to get rid of the non-compliant vehicles in a timely manner.
And then you
Yes.
can move the
And
rest of them
then
around
that
on
gives
parcel
him the
one,
ability to have
on one
more
side.
space to move the vehicles around to do the site work, which
Yep.
makes his load
Yeah.
easier, shorten the timeline.
Yeah,
Right.
that's exactly.
So, you said March 31st for
I think
all
that was my
non-compliant
ideal.
vehicles? I don't find that unreasonable. And then completion of work on site, I know our hands are a little tied as far as that because it is a special permit. But I think a guideline needs to be set.
End of August.
Jeff, Tom, thoughts?
Maybe go a little past August. Well, to September, maybe.
End of September?
Yeah, Bill proposed October 1st.
Okay.
October 1st?
Yeah.
No,
For-
end of
to
September,
finish
October 1st.
everything.
Yeah, okay. So, March 31st for removal of all non-essential items that are not on the list. September, 30 days has September.
October 1st.
So,
Yeah,
well,
October
well,
1st.
Let's hold on, because that's like 5 weeks away. I mean, it really is. So I'm just trying to project what you realistically, or what we realistically think is going to transpire in that period and what's going to be, the site is going to look like.
It's not 5 weeks.
It's 9 weeks.
9 weeks.
9 weeks, is it?
9 weeks.
Oh, my bad.
Yeah, so I'm not even talking about site work. I'm
No,
talking
no, 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 I
just-
understand. I
right,
understand.
Just removal.
Well, 9 weeks is a
You
little
know, I
different.
mean, that could get a little handicapped by the fact we're gonna get walloped in a few days with a foot of snow, but
Got enough equipment there to move it.
it might not be running though. So, it doesn't do you a
And
lot of
maybe
good.
7 weeks from now, there's 12 vehicles gone and there's only 2 left, and you know.
Don't give him any leeway now. He'll be asking for it, trust me.
No. So I think the guideline that we're discussing right now is fairly reasonable. I think it's attainable. Hopefully your client feels that way.
So can we clarify the timeline?
Yes.
So do we agree on what is proposed there, except requiring the, all non-compliant vehicles to be removed by March 31st, and change the end of the project by October 1st?
Yes.
Is that what you're
Yes.
saying?
Yes.
Okay.
Well, if that is going to be a condition, that everything that's non-compliant be removed from the site, then you don't really need those steps,
Well, you do.
because they'll be gone.
Keep 'em.
There'll be nothing there.
Yeah.
And you could do that interim site, you could do the actual work, at
Yeah,
your
it's-
leisure.
But it's the non-compliant vehicles, what about the compliant vehicles? There was still,
The compliant vehicles are always going to be allowed to be on site. So
we're
he's
talking
going to
during
have to move,
What
he's going to have to move those.
we're talking about is
right.
moving
He's going to
them.
have to move those around.
Yeah.
But I don't think, we shouldn't have to control that. I don't think we can. So, non-compliant vehicles off-site by March 31, completion of all work on-site October 1. I think that's all we need to give them.
Okay.
I don't think, this is great for, you know, a guideline for how he wanted to get from point A to point B, but I don't think we need that.
Okay.
I'm good with that.
Okay. Now we need to do the official stuff.
So first, we want to close the public hearing?
Well, hold on, what do you have in the book, if anything?
There's really not much. I think we've covered much more than,
I think one thing that Kevin added in his memo was to revise the plans to show the snow storage area.
I mean, if you can just make it a condition.
Okay.
We'll put it on the
Right,
final
right.
plan. You know, it's going to change every storm based on what's parked there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, we can show it.
okay, because I think that would be a concern of the butters, that if the snow storage too close to the lot line and they had runoff, but. So maybe you just indicate areas that snow would not be stored in.
Yeah.
That way he knows that A to B, we can't put snow because of runoff. Which leaves him the ability to put it any place else he wants.
I'm just thinking about
Yeah.
how he's doing it. I mean, the back area is, the back line is the logical place to put snow. There's not a lot of space in the front and on the side, and I know,
Right, but the back line is also where you're raising the grade, you're preventing runoff.
right,
So
So
putting snow
putting
on the
snow
other
on the other
side.
side of it doesn't make sense.
yeah, but it's, I mean, we're not talking, I mean, we're talking about runoff, we're talking about like rain, you know, heavy rains, which cause damage, not melting snow.
Okay, we'll leave that up to you. You're the professional. You tell us where the snow storage or lack of snow storage shall be, and we'll condition it into the,
Okay.
Okay, we all set? Motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
all those in favor?
Aye.
Before we go, just thank you very much for your patience, because I know this has been continued and continued and
You were a
continued
young
and
man when this
continued.
started.
And Gary would email me every month asking me where we were, so just thank you very much for your patience.
You know, thank you for your diligence as well, so
Thank you.
now we just bring it to the finish line.
Sorry?
Now we can bring it to, we will get it to the finish line.
I hope so.
Do we need another motion?
Yes. Motion, we need a motion to approve.
Go ahead, make it.
You can in the chair, you know. But Jeffrey can do
Do
it.
we have a list of conditions to attach?
Yeah, we have the standard conditions.
Right.
Do we, compliance with the zoning board decision, modification, whatever, is it modification, right? Yeah, so compliance with the,
With the agreement for judgment and modification. Diana has.
and then conditioned upon the timelines previously discussed.
What do you think, it was 10 years ago this time?
31st, was it, and?
Yep.
Oh, 09.
What about, we haven't discussed if we're going to require a what do you call it, a bond.
And just throw a hand grenade in at the last moment.
Will we be able to? We're not going to be
Yeah, what's the
accepting
bond for?
anything. There's no liability on the town.
Yeah, no, there's really no, I don't think we have the ability to,
Okay,
to do so.
all right.
Right. That would be punitive.
no, we can't do it. Okay,
And I was just going to say something else. Oh, the snow storage item.
Yep.
okay, Mr. Peterson, have at it.
All right, I'd move that the board approve the site plan review special permit application for a contractor yard by the applicant J. Cook Realty at 0 East Belcher Road, subject to the following conditions, that all work conducted at the site be done in compliance with the two zoning board agreements made with the applicant, that all non-compliant vehicles be removed from the site designated as Parcel 1 by March 31st, 2026, and that the work outlined in the application be completed by October 1st, 2026. And lastly, that snow storage area be designated on a final plan.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay. Now I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
All in favor? Aye.
Did anybody second that?
Yeah, Gary did.
Yeah.
I didn't hear. Great.
Okay.
Did any of you watch Blur?